Hey, welcome back to Square Body Stuff. I'm Chad, and we're going to be working on the little Nitrous 305 project I've got going on for No Name Nationals. I'm going to be putting some freeze plugs in the block and getting it ready to do some block fill. So yeah, let's just get right into it. First, I'm going to kind of explain what the No Name Nationals is. It's an event going on in Sikeston, Missouri, the end of September, 1st of October. We're trying to get this truck ready to go, old Squeaky. We're building a Stroker 305. It'll probably end up being like a 339, 340, being 60 over. So that event is for, as far as people participating, it's going to be YouTubers with 500 subscribers or more. There's a lot of cool stuff going on with this event right now on YouTube. So just hashtag No Name Nationals, and there's a lot of guys, a lot of channels, smaller channels trying to get their 500 subscribers. And a lot of camaraderie going on, a lot of back and forth, all in good fun. It's going to be an awesome event. Of course, it's also open to spectators, so if you want to just go spectate, go check it out. There's a website. I've got some links to everything down in the description box below. And while you're down there, check out my merch link, teespring.com, and I've got one of my shirts on today, but go check that out. Of course, to kind of catch you up if you're new here on what's going on, this little engine, it's a 305. It was out of my 78 C10 that I've been playing with. Put some nitrous to it, 250 shot of nitrous, and it's been holding together. The block is really, it's wore out. I'm not sure if the camera can see that, but it's a pretty good ridge. All I've done so far to it is tear it down. I've got it fit for splayed caps. I'm going to beef up the bottom end. I've got a stroker crank for it, a few other good odds and ends, and but so far with the block, I had it sent off to the machine shop. They cleaned it, magnafluxed to make sure it was good to go before I done any more work to it. So now I'm going to put some freeze plugs in it. I'm not going to do the cam plug yet. Just all the freeze plugs or expansion plugs, whatever you want to call them. Several people call them different things, and then we're going to be doing some block fill. Of course, the block fill, the hard block jacket filler, will be a separate video. I've got to play around with it. I've never done it before, so it's going to be a little experimentation on my own. I'm going to do one side, and then I'll probably video the other side. But this video will just be putting freeze plugs in. It's not a big process, but thought I'd kind of show what I've got going on and maybe help someone out installing their freeze plugs. Of course, I got to show off my new oil pan. They had a slightly used one. I think they just used it on a dyno engine or something like that. It's already been clearanced a little bit for stroker application. It's a right-hand dipstick, so it just worked out great. Got a little bit of a good deal on it since it was slightly used. It's got the trap door, so we got that's a decent drag racing oil pan for this thing. Of course, I'm gonna apologize. I got some fans going on because it's pretty warm here in the shop, so I'm gonna keep them on while I'm filming. Just a little extra noise, but here's what I've got that I used to put these freeze plugs in. It's just a piece of Delron I'm machined down to fit for the freeze plugs. The other side's for big blocks. You could also use a big socket if you want to, just something that fits in there fairly tight. You don't want it super tight because it might get stuck on there. Anyways, that's something you can use. You don't want to really tap around the edges of it because you can mushroom it out and it won't fit in the jacket or the hole right. And to seal them up, I usually like to use a little high temp RTV. Just put a little bit around the edge. You don't have to go crazy with it. Just a nice little layer before you put it in there. And also, you can take a piece of sandpaper or emery cloth and kind of clean the holes out so they're not got any junk or anything on it, or flapper wheel or wire brush. Just make sure you don't have a bunch of crud in your holes whenever you go to put these in. You want them very clean so they seal up and don't have any leaks. And I'm going to start with the two on the back of the block, and then I'll put my deal on there for the inch stand, then hang it on the inch stand and do the rest of them. That's about all there is to it. I guess if I was wanting to get picky, I should have lined up the letters that way they looked even, but I don't really care on this block, and this may never be seen again. You don't want to drive them in too awful deep. You know, you can see this little shoulder. You don't really want to drive them any deeper than that shoulder there, or the taper. But just make sure they're good and even, at least flush with the block, and maybe just a little bit deeper. It's going to be the same deal on these. They don't have to be super deep, at least flush with the block, or just, it's got a little taper on there, at least flush with the top of that taper. You've still got quite a bit of meat down in there to seal up, but you just want to make sure they get sealed up good, not going to blow out on you. Now, if I would have been thinking about it when I made this, and if I would have had a bigger piece of Delrin, I could have made it to where it had a positive stop where it would hit the block and stop at the right depth, but I wasn't thinking ahead whenever I made this, so. Alright, there we go. It's all freeze plugged or block expansion plug, whatever you want to call them. And like I was saying earlier on the back ones, if you get real picky, you can make it look like you really cared about what you're doing and have the numbers looking kind of even. I've done that on the sides too. But that's about all there is to it. Well, I hope this video helps somebody out. Wasn't really entertaining, but I just want to show you guys how I do freeze plugs, and you know, there's several different ways to do them. However works easiest for you with whatever tools you have. But this is how I do them. Works well for me. They don't ever come out. These were actually pretty tight, so I'm not really worried about them ever coming out. But now I'm going to start working on this, figuring out this hard block fill. Like I said, I've never done it before. I figure if I mess it up, at least I'm just messing up a 305 block. So, and not doing it on a big block or something like that. So, wish me luck on that. I will be putting a video together of what I do with that. Like I said earlier, I'm going to do one side, because you have to do one half of the block at a time, let it set up for like 24 hours or something like that. So, I'm going to play with one side and then get it figured out and then do the other side. So, stay tuned for that video. I'm going to end it off here. Appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.